help.
Welcome back to the IPFW Athletic Center for tonight's GLVC contest between the St. Joseph Pumas and the IPFW Mastodons. As we mentioned to you in the opening, both teams coming in with very good records. IPFW off to a 5-1 start and 11th rank in the NCAA Division II poll, and the St. Joseph Pumas starting out at 6-2. IPFW has won the last 7 contests between these two schools, but we expect a very good game today. Both teams come in very upper class laden. In fact, Dave Skelton, my partner, is down on the floor right now trying to get the starting lineups, but it appears that St. Joe will start 3 seniors and a junior. So they've come in. IPFW, on the other hand, is going to start 2 seniors and 3 juniors. So both teams will have a lot of experience coming into this ball game, Dave.
Well, we're getting close to that kickoff time. Kickoff, I guess. I saw so many football games yesterday that I can't switch games today. But here we are with the Great Lakes Valley Conference, and pretty important to the Mastodons that they get off on the right foot, I think, here, Dan, because they need to get these home wins right early in the season so that they can then go on the road and go after some of those tough teams.
Well, they started out, Dave, their first 6 games they've played, 4 of them on the road have done very, very well. Went over to a Gannon ball club and won a big ball game over in Gannon's gymnasium, which Gannon very seldom loses in their home gym. Have played very well on the road. Lost on Monday night to Saginaw Valley State by 1 point. Have not had a chance to talk to Coach Piazza to find out exactly what happened there at the ball game, but they did have quite a layoff. I think their last game was December 12th, and then they were off till December 30th, so they had about an 18-day layoff, and that could have been a factor in that loss.
Don't know a lot of the particulars on that game except that on Monday night up at Saginaw, we had apparently taken a 1-point lead with about 8 seconds to go by hitting 2 free throws. Saginaw went down, and 35 feet away from the basket, we were called on with a foul with 1 second to go, and they hit them both and beat us.
We're about a minute and a half away from the introduction to the starting lineups. Dave, do you have anything on some stats for either one of these teams?
Well, Dan, St. Joe has gotten off to an awfully good start. They're at 6-2, and as of late December, the first national statistics that were published by the NCAA Division II showed that these St. Joe Pumas as a team are very good shooters. They rank 3rd in the nation in field goal percentage at nearly 56%. They're 6th in the nation at free throw percent at nearly 77%, and have a devastating rebound margin of about 18. So they hit the boards and they shoot well. We'll see how well they play defense. One individual particularly, Kevin McGuff, number 10, who will be a starter at guard, and he's number 20, I'm sorry, but he's 10th in the nation in the 3-point field goal percent shooting.
Well, an IPFW typically plays a very strong man-to-man defense, usually picks up 3/4 court to full court, puts pressure on, so that could keep that young man out of 3-point shooting range. What about IPFW, Dave? Do you have any of their statistics?
We have some first 6-game summaries for the Mastodons. Eric Vaughn is the leading scorer, averaging 15.3 points. Sean Gibson averaging 14 points and rebounding very well again this year. So Eric and Sean are among the leaders. Clarence Rich has a tremendous string going of something like 24 consecutive games that he has hit at least 1 3-point shot.
Well, we're just about ready for tip-off here. We're going to go down to the court side for the introduction to the starting lineups.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IPFW Multi-Purpose Athletic Center. In tonight's second game, opening season game for the men between St. Joseph's College and your IPFW Mastodons. First, the starting lineup for the 6-2 Pumas of St. Joseph's College. At one guard, a 6'2 sophomore from Kentland, Indiana, number 12, Trent Smith. At the other guard, a 6'2 senior from Hamilton, Ohio, number 20, Kevin McGuff. At the center position, a 6'4 senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 44, Lowell Harper. At one forward, a 6'2 senior from Dayton, Ohio, number 15, Damon White. At the other forward, a 6'5" junior from Decatur, Indiana, number 32, Mark Scheidler. Head coach for St. Joseph's in his first season, Dan Peters. He's assisted by Jack Trainer, Ernest Watson, Jim Christ, and Jerry Hoover. And now the starting lineup for the 11th ranked IPFW Mastodons. The 5-1 Dons are led at one guard by 5'8" junior, Saginaw, Michigan, number 10, Andre Walton. The other guard, a 6'1" senior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 32, Kevin Schenk. At the center position, a 6'6" junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, number 54, Pat Murphy. At one forward, a 6'1" senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 33, Clarence Rich. And the other forward, a 6'7" junior from Lanesville, Indiana, number 41, Sean Gibson. The head coach of IPFW in his 5th season is Andy Piazza. He's assisted by Dick Dumanian. And now, will everyone please stand for the playing of our national anthem by the IPFW Pep Band.
Well, Dave, we've got a lot of local talent here tonight, both in the women's game that preceded this one and the men's game right now. Starting in tonight's lineup is IPFW's Kevin Schenk, who played at Carroll High School. And starting at for St. Joe is Mark Scheidler, their leading scorer, as a matter of fact, who played at Belmont High School. So it's a real nice local flavor here tonight.
And it's a very nice crowd here tonight, a large crowd for our opening game here in the GLVC. Still in a festive mood, I think, after the holidays, and let's hope they're treated to an excellent ball game here tonight.
Well, I think more and more people are getting used to IPFW and the quality of basketball they see here in the GLVC. And as you mentioned, IPFW rated 11th. There are two other teams in the GLVC rated in the top 20 in the country right now, so very, very strong conference.
And the three that are rated do not include a couple that were very highly rated last year and still going strong this year. Ashland has had pretty good preseason, rated very high last year. Bellarmine the same thing. So it's going to be a dogfight, game in, game out, as it always is.
And you mentioned it's important to win at home. So these first two ball games tonight against St. Joe and on Saturday against Lewis are very, very important ball games for the Mastodons. St. Joe has a new coach this year, Dan Peters, so we're not quite sure what to expect out of them, but we're ready for to play ball here.
Clarence Rich comes up with that first jump, and let's see if we can get inside with Murphy. Good shot, good pass from Kevin Schenk. IPFW with their full court pressure. No surprise to us and probably no surprise to St. Joe. Yet they're having some difficulty with it. Andre Walton with the steal.
knocked it out of bounds, but that kind of defensive pressure causes a lot of frustration for the offensive team. Pat Murphy made that first bucket. I forgot to mention he's another local player, played at Bishop Dwenger High School, so a lot of local talent in this game. Official calls a timeout.
Somehow he's wanting to check that shot clock, I think, because they have not reset it. There they go. They started with a 30-second clock. Held over from the women's game. Now it's at 45. Should knock off 6 seconds because I think it was down to 24. There we go. 39 seconds on the shot clock. St. Joe.
Well, IPFW typically won't use anywhere close to the 45 seconds.
No, you won't,
we're not
won't
sure
need to worry about that.
St. Joe.
Okay, it looks like we're ready to play. St. Joe will inbounds underneath the IPFW basket. Have the full length of the court. Number 20, Kevin McGuff with the ball. Inbounds to Trent Smith. Trent, a Kentland, Indiana boy. Back over to Kent, and there we go down. First time starter with Lowell Harper, number 44, into the St. Joe lineup tonight.
In fact, they haven't started their big gentleman, number 6'10", number 13, Mike Koski. Surprising.
So they got Mike Koski on the bench tonight. St. Joe very deliberately setting up against IPFW's man-for-man defense.
And as I recall, Dave, this is not much different than they've been in the past. This is a typical St. Joe ball club, it appears. So
they don't push it up and down, and they're not a hurry-up team. The shot clock just went off, and I think that will be a violation. It'll be IPFW ball.
IPFW played good defense there, as you said. St. Joe very patient, but IPFW kept the pressure up, so did not allow.
And again, they're having some difficulty on the reset of the shot clock. It needs to be programmed to go to 45 rather than having it automatically come back to 30.
Well, as you said, I'm not sure how they're setting it at 45 if they had originally programmed it at 30, but that's what happened when the shot clock was reset. It automatically went back to 30, which is the shot clock for the women's game.
They should be able to get the electronics programmed in here to where it would automatically be at the 45-second clock. Now it's always fun with the scoreboards to have those things stay plugged in. Important thing is, after about 1 minute of play here, IPFW will inbound the ball and have a 2-0 lead.
But as we talked about in the first game, it just causes so much inconsistency with so many fouls called or the clock being stopped so often, and it's really hard to get into a pattern. Both teams were ready to go, and that's what appeared to happen.
Yeah.
Here we go. They are reprogramming the scoreboard right now.
Fortunately, it's early enough in the game that they haven't really worked up a good sweat yet. St. Joe with their kind of soft purple uniforms here tonight.
Both teams still out on the floor ready to get the action going here, but
oh, it's this electronic world we live in that we just can't do without.
And that's the key. We can't do without it, but we can't do with it sometimes either. So
earlier tonight, we saw the debut of a new organization in the athletic program here at IPFW when we saw the dancing squad called the Donettes performed at halftime of the women's game, and they were an outstanding unit. Well, we're back to where the scoreboard shows us the right score. It's 2-0. The time is set at 19:01. Shot clock reads 45. It looks like we might be ready to go.
And we might even get a hand for the scoreboard here.
Pep Band took advantage of this opportunity to give us a little perking up. Coach Piazza and his new assistant ready to get the Mastodons rolling here in the GLVC. Pat Murphy out high, in low to Kevin Shank. He missed Sean underneath, but Andre goes in tight, misses.
Short with the left hand there.
Rebound by Mark Scheidler, the young man from Decatur, Indiana. Errant pass down the left side. Can't be handled by Kevin McGuff, and the Mastodons have another opportunity to come down and strengthen that 2-0 lead. Clarence Rich out past the three-point line. Kevin Shank inside to Sean Gibson. Sean back outside. That ball's moving around the court.
And right now St. Joe's moving very well with it, Dave.
And they're setting back there in a, well, they're going to man for man, aren't they? They're following the guys through every time. There's Clarence for a short jumper. No good. A lot of purple shirts around the defensive board.
Scheidler gets the ball again.
Number 15, Dave Damone White. One of the guards has it down on the right side court underneath the Kevin McGuff. St. Joe very deliberate on the offensive set.
Well, they're not very big right now, Dave, so it's hard for them to punch it down inside against Murphy and Gibson.
And they try to move it inside to Scheidler, and there was a couple of opportunities for a jump ball or a travel, and instead the ball was tipped out of bounds with 11 seconds left on the shot clock, so you can see that after 34 seconds, St. Joe really didn't even get a good shot.
They've not had a shot now in 3 possessions, Dave.
Kevin McGuff had the ball shot blocked, and there's an offensive foul called on Mark Scheidler, number 32 for the Pumas. The Mastodons get another chance now to come down, set up, and get that ball in the hoop. Played about 2.5 minutes, and we've got a 2-0 score. Andre Walton, new point guard for IPFW this fall, doing an excellent job. Over to Kevin Shank. Kevin looking inside, can't find the man he wants. Inside to Sean Gibson. Sean, strong move to the hoop, off to the rim and no good. Good hustle by Pat Murphy. Followed the man over to save the ball. There's a three-pointer on its way, no good. Kevin Shank tried the three-pointer, and it looked like one of his own men came up and got Lowell Harper in the eye.
Yeah. Both teams doing a lot of screening, but neither team is able to get the ball and get a clean shot inside, so the picks are not being very effective right now. Both teams are going to have to set stronger picks and hope to get that man inside open.
And both of these teams are averaging up in the 70 to 80 points a game. Lowell Harper missed the man underneath, but this time he goes up from the outside on the three-point shot, and a little stumble, and St. Joe picks up the loose ball underneath and puts it in the basket. Lowell Harper with the easy two.
Actually, IPFW had good position there, but they just were fighting each other for the ball, and it rolled loose to right to Harper.
Bounced the wrong way. Kevin Shank looking inside for Sean Gibson. Sean going up strong again and can't get it to bounce and roll. And he's going to be called for the foul after the follow-up to the missed shot. It's a good move. Stay with it, Sean. It'll work.
Yeah, you get a little frustrated there. You think that ball's for sure got to go in, and it just rolls around and comes out. And so you make a little bit extra effort to go back for the ball, and you get the foul.
3.5 minutes of play. 2-2 score. St. Joe College and IPFW. Each team with one team foul. St. Joe having some difficulty getting the ball inbounds, and now they come back over to Kevin McGuff. Kevin to Damon White. Down to Mark Scheidler and back out to White. St. Joe setting up their spread offense. IPFW man for man. Very tight, sticky man for man at the moment, making it extremely difficult for St. Joe to move on that ball, and Lowell Harper with a turnaround jumper, no good. So both teams getting some pretty decent shots now and then, Dan, but nobody can get one to fall.
Yeah, but they're not open, Dave. The defense is still getting a hand in the face at all times, and so that's what's, I think, distracting them right now. Number 21, Mark Allen into the lineup.
And from the original program, his number has been cut in half. He originally was listed as a number 42. But there we see again Lowell Harper with his second basket. Lowell with some strong moves inside. Shane Gibson getting ready to come in, Sean's twin brother.
Well, and we'll see about 13 or 14 players for the IPFW Mastodons tonight.
Yeah, they'll all be in there. Inside to Allen again. He gets the strong move, and he can't get it to fall.
Opportunity for a foul to be called, but the official's not calling them down underneath the basket tonight.
Not yet. Trent Smith had the ball on the left side for St. Joe. Over to Damon White. They're looking inside for Mark Scheidler. But Lowell Harper's the man they're going to, and Lowell's getting the job done right now.
Well, we see why he started tonight, Dave.
That's
He's certainly
right.
got an offensive ability for the Pumas.
Lowell's a 6'4", 185-pound senior from Detroit, Michigan. He and Clarence ought to be familiar with each other. 6-2 the score, St. Joe. We've played 5.5 minutes. Back underneath again to Marcus Allen, and Marcus, that time he got the ball, or got the shot fake and drew Lowell Harper off his feet. So we have 2 new players in the lineup for St. Joe. Number 42, Donnie Riggins is coming in, and number 30, Harry Perry, and also number 13, Mike Koski. So we have 3 new players.
Well, Koski's the one we expected to start, 6'10", so look for some ball movement inside now with Koski in.
Harry Perry. We'll have to be careful that we don't say, holy cow. Clarence Rich to inbound the ball for IPFW. They need a bucket. They've been moving the ball well on the offensive set. They just haven't been able to get the right thing to go down. Sean Gibson back inside. And Sean goes up, draws the foul.
Well, and what is happening here is they are moving the ball inside. That IPFW is not able to convert or get a good shot, but they are drawing some fouls. That's the 3rd foul for St. Joe.
3 team fouls after about 6 minutes of play. Sean with an opportunity to shoot 2. Another substitution in St. Joe lineup. Number 35, Mark Brown, 6'7", 205-pound sophomore from Hebron, Indiana. So we have all but 1 starter has been replaced in the St. Joe lineup. Only Damon White stays, as the first free throw is up and good by Sean Gibson. Good to see Sean hit the free throws. He's been struggling just a little bit. Second one is also good. Pressure defense again by IPFW.
This time it's full court. Last time they did a little quarter court trap.
And the defensive men were rotating so that they couldn't get that easy bucket underneath the basket. We have a foul called underneath the basket on some picking and moving. Mark Allen has his first foul.
On that pick, they called him on hold. So St. Joe will inbound underneath the basket. IPFW's got to be strong here with the big lineup in for St. Joe right now underneath.
Mike Koski is 6'10". Mark Brown is 6'7". So yes, they have some size underneath at the moment. Donnie Riggins has the ball. He's 6'3". Mike Koski moving, and then we go for a 3-pointer to the outside. Basket's good.
By Damone White. Not sure they're going to say that was a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer.
3-pointer. Basket's good. Fouled after the shot. Andre Walton draws the foul. He is replaced in the IPFW lineup by Jeff Smithy. Kevin Shank coming back in. Kevin replaces Clarence Rich. So we now have only 1 starter in for IPFW and only 1 starter on the floor at the moment for St. Joe. 9-4 score, 13.5 minutes yet to be played here in the first half. We have a jump ball underneath the basket. Alternate possession will give the ball back to St. Joe, I think. Yes, there we go. Donnie Riggins.
Good aggressive play by both Gibson and by Koski there, though.
Yeah, they kept the big guy from getting the easy hoop underneath the basket. St. Joe again spreads that offense. tries to give their big man plenty of room to operate. He almost traveled. He has a long, long stride, but I'm not sure it's that long. Harry Perry, bad pass underneath. Mike Koski couldn't catch up with it, so IPFW with a chance now to come down and cut that lead.
Well, it was good overplay by Sean Gibson, forced the ball outside, and Koski couldn't get to it.
Nice pass underneath the basket. Marcus Allen goes up and finally gets one to fall with a nice pass in there from Kevin Schenk. Pressure defense. IPFW again trying to slow those Pumas down, keep them from getting the kind of set that they want. St. Joe with 2 or 3 men about ready to report back into the lineup. Mike Koski. Good collapsing defense, but he had it knocked away, grabbed it, and put it back up and in. Mike Koski, pretty agile young man for 6'10". And there was a steal on a clean breakaway. Number 30, Harry Perry. IPFW got a little lax bringing the ball down.
Well, Perry looks to be really quick, Dave, and Smithy we think is pretty quick, but Perry just took the ball right away from him, went around him down the length of the court.
IPFW a little slow right now getting the offense set up. And got a break that time because the pass was not particularly well thrown.
Not a very good choice on Smithy's part, trying to put the ball in the middle with St. Joe collapsed inside.
Saw a couple of quarterbacks yesterday try to throw that ball into about 3 defenders, and it didn't work then either. And we have practically a total new lineup back in for St. Joe. We now have Donnie Riggins, 42, Mark Scheidler, 32, 13 Mike Koski stays in, 21 new name on the lineup, Tony Lyles. And for IPFW, an errant pass, a little careless on the offense. Got to get some things set up and get some life going here. We have played 8 minutes, a little over 8 minutes. And we have a score of 13-6 with St. Joe leading the IPFW Mastodons. And the ball just won't fall in, and neither team is being able to put that ball where they want it. Shane Gibson for a 3-pointer, and it's good. Shane took that shot with a lot of confidence, looked to me like. He was smooth and easy and ready to go.
And what that happened is by Allen picking off that pass, getting it to Smithy, they got down there before the pressure was able to set up.
Yeah.
And the pressure here, even though the ball's not necessarily being taken away every time, is a nagging factor on both teams.
Mike Koski, big 6'10" man, handling the ball in the backcourt. I think IPFW would like to see him just stay out there.
I think you're right, Dave.
Mark Scheidler over to number 12, Trent Smith. Mike Koski trying to move toward the basket again. IPFW is doing a pretty good job of shutting Mike off on being able to maneuver in close to the basket.
They just need to make sure they don't give him too much attention, though. But you're right, they're doing a nice job right now. But if they double and triple team him, they've got to look for somebody to be open on St. Joe's part.
Kevin McGuff back into the Puma lineup. Trent Smith over to Tony Lyles. Back out to Kevin McGuff. Looks at Mark Scheidler, and Mark comes out to set a pick. Tony Lyles with the move on. And we had the ball go through the legs, it looked like maybe, of Mike Koski.
Oh, good. Good pressure defense by IPFW. Forced a lot of hands down there, and the ball got through without being touched by a white.
And they cut off the most logical passing lane and made it tough for St. Joe to move that ball. St. Joe with their pressure man-to-man defense.
I'll tell you what, Dave, this 21, Harry Perry, is very, very quick. He's got quick hands, quick feet. He's going to give our guards some fits tonight.
He's making it very difficult for IPFW to set the ball up, making the point guard have to work extra hard. Pat Murphy trying to hold his ground underneath. Does come through. Makes a nice move, and he is called for an offensive foul.
3 guys in the air up there for St. Joe, and Murphy gets the charge call.
Must have called him for a hook. Wrapping that arm around him or something there, because he sure didn't knock him down.
Well, if they called that, it was a late call because the ball was already in the air when they called the charging call.
Kevin McGuff. Back over to Tony Lyles, now to Trent Smith. Mark Scheidler's been very quiet so far. Mark's their leading scorer. And we have a foul called against IPFW.
Looks like he's going to be calling Murphy again, so he picks up his second very quickly.
Mark Scheidler, a 16-point per game average. I don't remember he has taken a shot yet, maybe one. But it'll be St. Joe ball underneath the basket. IPFW lining up for the defense. Needs to be alert here that the big man doesn't shake loose real easily.
Dave, you mentioned Scheidler and 16.3 average, and he hasn't. I think you're right. I don't believe he has had taken a shot, but he has 2 or 3 rebounds, and oftentimes those good scores, that's where they get a lot of points, is on the rebounding. So if he continues to crash the boards and stay inside, he may get his 16-point average.
And he also made a couple of nice feeds into Lowell Harper earlier in the ball game. Scheidler with the ball, deep in the right court. Kevin McGuff, Trent Smith, Mike Koski battling to get position. Clarence Rich with real tough defense that time. Made Trent Smith take a tough shot.
St. Joe playing very good defense though too, Dave. Got to give both teams credit right now. The half-court defense is very, very tenacious.
IPFW has been about a half step slow on the pass. Again, the deliberate offense set up. Mark Scheidler with a move to the basket. Tony Lyles with the long jump shot, the loose rebound, and IPFW cannot come up with the garbage yet tonight. It's about the third basket St. Joe has been able to pull off just by being in the right place at the right time. Sean Gibson over to Clarence Rich. Clarence looks for Smithy. Nice pass inside to Murphy. Got to get back out. Pat got doubled up down on the baseline and had no place to go.
Actually, he should have taken it right up. He had a moment there where he had an opening and he didn't take it to the ball, and they closed very quickly. Looks like we're going to have a revolving door at the scores table tonight, Dave. Both teams substituting very, very freely here. So.
In fact, St. Joe even more freely than IPFW, which is surprising. Another three-point shot by Shane Gibson, and it looked like he was pushed away from the action. But here comes number 15, Damon White. IPFW doesn't seem to have the hands right now, Dan.
Nope, can't quite pick up that loose ball. Very good defensive pressure again to force the 3-on-1 break to not get a good shot, but they weren't able to pick up the loose ball. But that's Murphy's third foul, right?
You're right. 16 foul, third personal foul on Pat Murphy. And Damon White will go to the line to shoot 2. First one is up and good by Damon. Damon is a 64% free throw shooter prior to that shot.
As a team, they're shooting 72%.
Damon hits the second.
You want to hit somewhere between 75 and 80.
17-9. 8 minutes and 37 seconds to play in the first half. And IPFW is not scorching the nets, nor are they passing very well tonight. Number of turnovers.
They're not getting very good movement right now. They had 27 turnovers up at Saginaw Valley, and they are averaging a number of turnovers a game.
In contrast to some earlier ball games that they played where they held the turnover rate to very, very low. It's probably going to be a key for them this year. St. Joe again setting up the ball, getting their deliberate pattern set up. Lowell Harper working at the top of the key, goes inside now to number 35, Mark Brown. Kevin McGuff drives. Puts up a short jumper. Kevin Rich went up strong for the rebound. Got the position, got the ball, and drew the foul.
Well, I think Andy Piazza's got to be pretty pleased with his team's effort right now. They're just not executing, Dave. They're not getting the ball in the basket at the end.
They're playing hard, hanging in there. They need to get that shot to fall. Just under 8 minutes to play in the first half. St. Joe Pumas 17. And there, another foul, this one on Lowell Harper. Sean Gibson made the move on the baseline. Really didn't have much of a place to go, but went up strong and drew the foul. 16 foul on St. Joe. So we'll be in the bonus from here on out in the first half.
Both teams.
Clarence Rich inbounds the ball, gets it back in the corner, inside to Sean Gibson. Sean was tied up, and on the alternate possession, the ball will stay at the IPFW end.
Sean wanted a foul call there, and it's really difficult to imagine not being fouled when two people are reaching for the ball down there, but officials called the jump ball.
Very tight quarters. Mike Koski and Mark Scheidler back into the St. Joe lineup.
It appears, Dave, that St. Joe's also aware of Clarence Rich's string of three-point shots because they are on him immediately when he gets the ball in his hands behind the three-point line.
He's had no daylight out there beyond the three-point. Andre Ware with a drive, Andre Walton, I should say, with a drive down the middle, but couldn't handle the ball, couldn't get the handoff. Now we have Mike Koski out high. Mark Scheidler at the top of the key. Kevin McGuff. The shot put up by Tony Lyles, not Tony Lyles, but Damon White.
They gave him a 3 on that.
And IPFW needs some offensive continuity here badly. Need to be able to get that ball up. Everybody's standing right now, waiting for it to get set up and move. Sean Gibson back out to Clarence Rich. We haven't seen Eric Vaughn in the ball game yet tonight. Kevin McGuff. Mark Scheidler with his first basket tonight, and IPFW calls a timeout. They need this badly because things are just inching away from them, and again, digging a hole, a little bit like the first game we saw tonight, Dan, between the women.
And the difference here is, Dave, that IPFW is getting their shots and doing okay. They're just not getting, they're just not executing at the very end here. So. The College Cable Access Program Guide provides information about our programming, including our monthly sports programming. To receive your free Channel 6 program guide, send your name, address, and zip code to College Cable Access Center at IPFW, 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805-1499, or call us at 481-6582, and we'll be happy to put you on our mailing list. You were right, Dave. It's St. Joe just keeps building on that lead, but as I said, it's not a case of not getting the shots. It's just not dropping. That last shot, for example, down the court, Mark Allen had a pretty good shot at the basket, but tended to fall away and didn't get enough oomph on the ball instead of going aggressively to the basket. In fact, you made the comment when Gibson took that three-pointer, Shane Gibson took the three-pointer, he shot it with confidence. We really haven't been shooting with confidence very much.
Not since that shot. Okay, IPFW with the ball. Andre Walton coming down on the attack. Mark Allen, Sean Gibson, Shane Gibson, Clarence Rich in the lineup. A little better ball movement that time, and they got the shot they wanted. A foul on the shot. The shot would not fall.
But still, Gibson was falling away from the basket instead of going straight up or going into the basket. He's falling away. And luckily, he called a foul. I thought, to be honest with you, I thought it was a kind of a cheap foul, but we'll take anything we can get at this point in time.
Yeah, IPFW needs something that'll pump a little life into the offensive attack. Shane Gibson.
6'5" junior.
Shane's first shot, no good. Shane's first miss of the year at the line. He had 2 for 2 prior to that shot. Now let's see if he can go 3 for 4. And he does. So IPFW gets off of that 9. They were stuck on that single digit forever and ever. St. Joe inbounds the ball. Taking their time against the full court pressure of IPFW. Trap defense. Kevin McGuff out to Damon White. Mark Scheidler back in the ball game, gets good position underneath. Has a shot blocked by Sean Gibson, Andre Walton, and nobody to help him out, telling him he had trouble coming from behind. Mike Koski shut off from going to the basket, and we have a three-point attempt. Put up by Harry Perry. He missed. The ball goes up over the top, hits the supports up in it, above, and we have Jeff Smithy back in the IPFW lineup. So IPFW needs to make a bit of a run here in these last 5.5 minutes of the first half.
They need to do it under control, though. You're right. They need to cut it down to about 8 points if they can.
Jeff Smithy out front looking for Shane Gibson. Shane picks at the top of the key. Mark Allen working inside, trying to get position. Jeff Smithy goes up. Nice feed, nice dish to Sean Gibson. Sean, as he attempted to go up, was fouled by Kevin McGuff.
Very nice drive. That's what our guards need to do. They need to get that ball. I'm not sure they need to take the baseline drive. They need to drive it down the middle and look to feed off, because by taking that baseline drive, you are giving them an extra defensive player there with the baseline.
The penetration opened up some things for the rest of the players, and they definitely need to be able to open something up at this point in time.
Well, they've been content to move the ball around the perimeter, and that's not getting them that open shot that they need.
Sean Gibson at the line to shoot 2. First one is good. Sean at the line for number 2. Can bring this deficit down to 10 points if he's successful with this free throw, and it's short around and in. Got the good bounce. St. Joe inbounds against the full court pressure. Down quickly this time across midcourt. Shane Gibson picking up Mark Scheidler on the far sideline. Damon White on the drive, off the pick. Just kind of snuck by everybody and flipped it up and got a nice bucket.
That was a great move by White. Didn't appear that he had much of an opening there.
Sean Gibson inside and drew another foul. Oh, I'm sorry. He's called for an offensive foul.
Dave, I'm sorry. I don't like to criticize the officials, but I have trouble buying that one.
Yep. Especially since he was very, very late in making any kind of call after he had blown his whistle. We have 2 new players in the lineup now. Kevin Shank back in and John Honstrider in for the first time tonight. Damon White with Clarence Rich on him, very tight this time. IPFW extending their man-for-man defense a bit. Good defense by Clarence Rich. Up to Jeff Smithy. Jeff down across the midcourt. Kevin Shank out the side. Jeff with the three-pointer, and it's good. Big bucket for IPFW.
That's a big bucket. Dave gets it down to 9. With 4:21 left, they still got an opportunity to cut it down. And again, they don't need to get it all back at once. They just need to get within striking distance before they go in at halftime.
Good defense by John Honstrider, keeping Mark Scheidler from being able to make the drive to the basket. And we have again now Damon White moving with the ball out front. New insertion, Josh Hauser in the St. Joe lineup, number 22. Mike Koski driving across the lane. John Honstrider made certain that he did not get the shot up.
But they're going to call it on Allen.
Mark may have gotten him first. Number 12, Trent Smith, back in the St. Joe lineup, replacing number 30, Harry Perry. Harry with a lot of quickness. Mike Koski at the line. Nice touch, hits the free throw. Mike's a good free throw shooter, hitting at about 75% this fall. Second one in the air and a nice roll, and it falls through. St. Joe back to an 11-point lead. It's been a long time, Dan, since I've seen the IPFW offensive output held to such a low total for an entire half. We have less than 4 minutes to play, and IPFW has scored.
And again, Dave,
points.
it's not because they're not getting the shots. They just aren't executing and getting the ball to go down in the hoop.
And they aren't getting any second shots.
Right.
Doug Reinke coming into the lineup for IPFW. For Mark Allen. Kevin Shank is going to the line to shoot the 1-and-1. First shot is up and around and in. He got the shooter's roll.
Had just enough touch on that, Dave.
Kevin's with his second shot. Had a chance to bring IPFW under that 10-point deficit, but wouldn't go through. Rattled around and dropped out. Damon White with the ball. Jeff Smithy avoided the pick by Mark Scheidler. And good defense again by Clarence Rich over there. Put the pressure on number 22.
And you've mentioned his name a couple times playing that half-court defense. He is just eating those players up right now.
He's nose to nose with them, isn't he? Jeff Smithy, I think, caught a knee in the thigh and slowed him down a bit. Doug Ranke, the ball on the baseline. Big Mike Koski on the defense. Jeff Smithy. Damon White on the defense. Kevin Shank. John Hansreiter. A lot more movement on the offense now. Let's see if they can't get something productive out of this.
It's still too high, though, Dave. They need to move it down lower and get the ball down in the paint.
Jeff Smithy with another three. No good. Strong rebound by Mark Scheidler. Damon White with the ball for St. Joe as they come down. We have under 3 minutes to play in the first half. St. Joe 26, IPFW 16. Neither team has really put on an extended offensive role. And there we get a traveling call against the big guy.
And that's what you talked about earlier. If we can keep him outside with the ball, we'd be very content to do that, I think.
Good place for him to play.
You mentioned a while ago that 16 points is very low for IPFW, which is certainly true. But IPFW has not been scoring at the same pace they have the first 4 years.
No, that's true.
Andy Piazza's tenure here at IPFW.
But they've been typically getting 30 points or so a half.
Right. 16 is a very low output.
And they've had enough shots, decent shots, that could have gone in to have 30 points. Kevin Shank with a nice fake, nice drive in and got the two. Nice move by Kevin.
Well, he got the defensive man up there, went right to the bucket. Didn't stop and take the 10-footer. He went right to the bucket and was able to get the shot.
Good defense again. Good defense again by the Mastodons. And Clarence Rich was involved in that. Go up with it, Doug. He listens, doesn't he?
Very nice move by Ranke, though. He went both ways and came back around to his left and put the little soft jump hook up.
And this isn't exactly what you call an extended run, but it's a nice little run for the Mastodons that has gotten them back into the flow of things. Doug Ranke commits the foul as he cuts off the baseline. But Mike Koski. We'll see a replay.
The foul on the replay.
Yeah, I guess we won't. Mike Koski coming to the free throw line. He'll shoot the bonus. Shane Gibson's back into the lineup for IPFW. Clarence Rich gets a well-deserved wrist. Mike Koski's first shot is up and good. That's about the third or fourth free throw.
That's right.
Good form, good success each time. And Mike hits the second free throw, so he pushes that lead back up to 8, 28-80 with 1:31 left in the first half. And if IPFW could just get another mini run of 4 to 6 points, then we'd have ourselves a real tight one going into the halftime. Jeff Smithy with the ball out front. Over to Kevin. Kevin Shank runs the baseline, comes back to the other side to reverse the ball. Shane Gibson, deep right corner. Shane was blocked as he tried to go across the baseline. He'll now have 2 free throws coming because they're past the bonus. It's an automatic 2 shots from here on out.
So here in the first half, Shane Gibson here, you see him driving the baseline and foul. He's going to have as many free throws in the first half of this ball game as he had in the whole season prior to this.
First one is up and good. Shane with a chance now to bring the Mastodons as close as they have been in quite a while at 6 points if he can make this free throw. Second one, no good. Short and off the front of the rim. Damon White down quickly. Josh Hauser, deep left baseline. Trent Smith tries to go right baseline, no go. Josh Hauser again, backdoor, back cut, and they couldn't handle the ball.
A good defensive pressure again.
Yep.
Making them force the turnover.
Honstrader came over to help. Smithy wasn't far behind. So the Mastodons now with a chance to, again, cut into that lead.
Shot clock is about 2 ahead of the game clock.
So it's really not a factor. Jeff Smithy with the long three. And all of a sudden, we're back now to a 28-24 ball game. 25 seconds to go on the clock.
Dave, I just about said that wasn't a very good choice, but anytime a coach will take that bucket, I guess, huh?
Yeah, when you have so many that roll around and drop out, you'll take the one that maybe you didn't really think was your first choice. St. Joe holding the ball for a last second. No, they're not. They go with it right away. Doug Ranke with the rebound. Jeff Smithy cut it loose. And just ahead of the buzzer, or behind the buzzer, I should say, Doug Ranke got the lineup. So after a very, very sluggish middle part of the first half, IPFW put on a couple of short runs, not real devastating runs, but with their defense as much as anything else, Dan, I think we were able to hang in there, get a couple of good buckets, and cut that deficit down from 12 to 4 points here at halftime.
And I think that's what you look for, Dave. As I said, I don't think you expect to turn that ball over every time with the pressure, but their pressure was just causing St. Joe to get out of sync, and it helped us get back in the ball game, and we're right within striking distance. Come back out to start second half.
Well, we invite you to join us now at halftime, as coming up very shortly will be Campus Calendar with Rajan Rogers and Graffiti Art. So here we are at halftime. Score again, St. Joe College 28, IPFW 24.
Thanks for tuning in to Channel 6 Sports. I'm Rajan Rogers with the campus calendar for the week of January 6th through the 12th. On Monday, January 6th, the Modern Foreign Languages Placement Test will be held in Walb Memorial Union Building, room G21 at 9 a.m. The placement orientation will be held in Walb, room 222 at 5 p.m. For Tuesday, January 7th, the placement orientation will be held in Walb, room G21 at 4 p.m. On Wednesday, January 8th, the Nursing Challenge exam is scheduled to be held in Kettler, room 108 at 9 a.m. The placement orientation will be held in Walb, room 222 at 5 p.m. Thursday, January 9th's activities include the College Level Exam Program, also known as CLEP, will be held in Walb, room 222 at 8:30 a.m. The placement orientation will be held in Walb, room G21 at 2 p.m. ASTRO, the Adult Students Reentry and Orientation Program, will be in the Classroom Medical Building lobby at 5:30 p.m. The Career Assessment Group, Interpretation, will be in Walb G21 at 5:30 p.m. FAST, Future Academic Scholars Track Program Student Ambassador Meeting will be in Walb, room 222 at 6:30 p.m. And for Friday, January 10th, the Nursing Information Meeting is scheduled in Kettler, room 108 at 1 p.m. The Martin Luther King Calendar display presentations will be held in Kroninger Magnet School at 2 p.m. For Saturday, January 11th, the FAST program Saturday Academies will be held at 8:30 a.m. On Sunday, January 12th, the Computer Art and Ceramics exhibit will be held in the Fine Arts Building, the first floor corridor. It will be running through 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. Also on Sunday, the opening reception for the Christian Nault Art exhibit, which will be held in the Fine Arts Building lobby at 2 p.m. As an academic reminder, the regular registration days will be January 6th through the 9th. The payment deadline for classes will be January 9th. Classes will begin on January 13th. The late registration and drop ad deadline is the 13th of January through the 17th of January, and the last day for a full refund for classes will be January 17th. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of Campus Calendar. I'm Rajan Rogers, and I hope you've had a happy new year.
Color, space, line, form. These basic elements have been used by painters, sculptors, and architects to create artworks of timeless beauty and value. The Art of the Western World television course examines many of mankind's most enduring achievements and provides you with the key to the language of art.
What do you really give when you give blood?
Another summer. Another dance.
How you doing?
Another song. Another hug.
Good game, man. Don't worry about it.
Another date. Another moment.
When you give blood, you give another chance.
Chico Garcia is the most prolific graffiti artist on the Lower East Side. His murals have become landmarks for the people of his community. But Chico didn't start that way. He began as a graffiti vandal. Armed with a spray can, he stalked the Lower East Side with his friends. His signature was known and respected by every kid in his project. Although it started as a game, Chico realized he could use his talent in a more positive way. He approached the manager of his project with the idea of decorating the walls of the buildings.
I went up to his office and asked him for a job, and he refused me. Then I asked him again after a week, and then I kept tagging my name all over the area, and he refused me again.
It was my role as a manager of the project to get rid of all of the graffiti in the project, and the mere mention of the word graffiti to me was evoked a negative reaction. He had presented himself a number of times as being a graffiti artist, and I could not associate the word artist with graffiti.
He sent the cops to my house, and they was there with a warrant to arrest me. But when they saw my work and they knew I was talented, they told me I should go see Mr. Russo and ask him for a job.
With the cops' recommendation, Mr. Russo changed his mind and hired Chico as a caretaker. Ironically, it was Chico's job to remove graffiti, some of it his own, from the walls of the project. He also painted signs. Soon, Mr. Russo convinced the housing authority to let him paint murals.
Mr. Russo was one of the persons that I looked up to as a father figure, because he was the one that encouraged me to do something right with my talent. And he took me away from that graffiti world, which I was just vandalizing the neighborhood.
Today, Chico's murals are so popular, he can hardly satisfy the community's demand for more.
He's changed the way the Lower East Side looks. He's showing that graffiti and the way people look at graffiti is not the way they should.
I think that's real art. That's not pretentious like cocktail party art, man. That's real. Comes from real people that do real things.
Yo, I don't smoke weed or sex, cause it's known to give a brother brain damage. And brain damage on the mic don't manage nothing but making a sucker in you equal. Don't be another sequel.
As time went on and drugs became more prevalent in his neighborhood, Chico felt the need to put a message into his art.
When they say say no to crack or say no to drugs, to find that, you know, like a message to them if they're taking drugs. Because a lot of them used to be my friends, and now a lot of them made it, but a lot of them, I'm still in the neighborhood, and they got involved in drugs, and they haven't had a chance to really make it anywhere. So I'm there to really give them, you know, a better opportunity in life.
Chico's greatest wish is to revive the pride and the self-respect drugs and violence have taken away from his community. In 1988, he moved into a new area and started painting memorials for the people who died in his neighborhood. He felt this would give the families something physical to hold on to.
When I do paintings like that, I just want to be able to bring them back to the family, to the parents, to the friends.
One of Chico's first memorials was for Jaleesa Rivera. She was brutally raped and murdered at the age of 18. Jaleesa's brother, Nestor, remembers when Chico suggested the idea of a memorial.
At first, he wanted to draw her on the wall and do something really nice, but I don't think my mother would have agreed with that, it was very thoughtful, but it was a lot of pain for the family at the time. So he did a nice memorial on her, just a name and memory and stuff. And we're very happy that he did that. It's just a sign of saying that that he cares.
Unlike his other murals, Jaleesa's memorial remains untouched by graffiti vandals. For Nestor, it's a reminder that the whole community was there for him and his family.
I knew a lot of people. I'm very known in Avenue D, but I didn't think anyone would come and help. It turned out to be one big happy family. The community chipped in to do the memorial. They helped Chico, you know, paint the place and stuff. And they gave him a hand, and that was good. And I guess this is what we need in this world. We need people to come together, especially my race, especially Spanish people, and stick together the way they did.
Welcome back to the Athletic Center on the IPFW campus here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Halftime of the Great Lakes Valley Conference basketball game between the men's teams from St. Joe College and IPFW. Dan, I'll be very surprised if in this second half each team scores under 30 points.
Well, Andy Piazza typically is very good at giving his team instructions at halftime and come out and typically do a very good job in the second half. So I will be surprised if they don't score many more points than 24. Now, they may not score 100 tonight, but I expect that the pressure that they've used at both half court and full court will make a difference here against St. Joe. But, Dave, we've got to be impressed with St. Joe. They have not folded underneath the pressure. Actually, I was looking at the halftime stats here, and St. Joe actually has one more turnover than IPFW, which surprised me. I really thought IPFW had more turnovers, but they've not folded underneath that pressure, and they've executed when they've had to, and they have a 4-point lead here at halftime. But again, that's very, very much within striking distance for IPFW.
Well, IPFW had a flurry of the turnovers early in the game. Then they kind of settled down, couldn't get the shot to fall, but they were doing things that got themselves some decent shots, although they didn't take a lot of shots. 16 shots in a halftime is not very much shooting.
And you talked about the fact that IPFW's hands were not there tonight. St. Joe has out-rebounded IPFW by 7, and you made a comment that they had been out-rebounding their opponents, but didn't even appear that they had taken that kind of an advantage, but they doubled the rebounds on IPFW. I do have the stats here scoring-wise for St. Joe, a total of 28. Trent Smith has 2. Mike Koski has 6. Damone White has 10, and he leads the Pumas. Harry Perry has 2. Mark Scheidler has 2, and that's way below his season average. Lowell Howe has 6, and Dave, we haven't seen him much after he got those 6 points very early in the first half, and we haven't seen him too much since then. For IPFW, and their total of 24, Jeff Smithy has 6, Shane Gibson has 5 with 1 3-pointer, Kevin Shank has 3, Sean Gibson has 4, Mark Allen has 2, Doug Ranke has 2, Pat Murphy has 2. The only person in any real foul trouble for either team is Pat Murphy, got 3 very quickly there in the middle of the first half, and he is the only person in foul trouble for either team.
A couple of things that we see in the stats that IPFW has had only 1 offensive rebound in the first half, and they'll have to increase that production if that scoring is going to be be able to increase and get up there where they can get themselves a margin on St. Joe. We see both teams hitting 50% from the field on 3-point shots. IPFW has 1 advantage there, 3 out of 6 to 2 out of 4 for St. Joe. Free throws, St. Joe's been perfect.
Well, and you'd made the comment early in the ball game, or right before the ball game started, that St. Joe was one of the top categories in the NCAA in field goal percentage, and I'm showing that they're currently shooting at a 58% clip, and they only shot 47% in the first half, so IPFW's defense. But likewise, St. Joe is also playing strong defense. IPFW is averaging 54, and they only shot 43%, almost 44% in the first half.
Somehow I look for this second half to be just a little bit different. I don't know whether it'll be a little more faster pace. St. Joe may pick up the tempo a little bit, but they sure seem to be content with a very deliberate offense.
Actually, I don't think you'll see the change from St. Joe. I think they're very, very happy with a 4-point lead here at halftime with what they expected out of IPFW. I think you'll see a difference from IPFW. I think you'll see them taking the ball to the basket more. I think they will not relieve the pressure that they have put on the Pumas at all. And I think what Andy Piazza is going to hope for out of his players is that they create some turnovers and they get a few easy buckets off of the press, or at least the pressure.
Well, the second half will start with St. Joe possession, alternate possession pointing in favor of the Pumas. IPFW yet to break huddle from the bench as Coach Piazza and the Mastodons are making their last-minute preparations. For IPFW, we have nearly the starting lineup, with the exception of Jeff Smithy staying in the lineup. St. Joe's lineup for starting the second half is the lineup that started the first half. Inbounds the ball to Damon White, and away we go in the second half. 28-24. St. Joe with a 4-point lead. Pat Murphy, 3 fouls in the first half, playing the strong defense inside. Damon White with a move, with a drive, and got the 2. Kevin Shank deep in the right side of the court, over to Clarence Rich. Clarence drives to the basket, dishes off. Kevin Shank with the drive, and he's going to be called on an offensive foul charge.
Well, it was a good thought. He just needed to pull up a little bit earlier because he didn't end up getting the ball to the basket anyway. He passed off. He should have pulled up just a little bit shorter and passed off.
Either that or shoot the short jumper. So St. Joe inbounds the ball against the full court pressure of IPFW. Jeff Smithy and Clarence Rich trapping on the right side. Back to Damon White. Lowell Harper back on the floor now for St. Joe. Played a lot early in the first half for St. Joe. Kevin McGuff, good outside 3-point shooter, and I don't think he's taken one yet tonight. He's waving for one now. He's in the territory. Kevin Shank came over on the help defense on Mark Scheidler after Pat Murphy had gotten in behind, and Mark got fouled. He'll go to the line to shoot 2.
And that's where I imagine he gets most of his 16.3 points a game, is underneath the basket like that. And he's a very strong young man, jumps real well, and I would think he gets a lot of his points right there.
He's an 80% free throw shooter for the season. Has made 36 out of 48 already. A 62% shooter from the field. And he misses the first. So that tells you what stats can do for you. Each time up the line, you must make it regardless of what the paper says. Mark with his second free throw. Trying to give St. Joe a 7-point lead, and he gets the nice bounce, and it rolls in. So they do have the 7-point lead. St. Joe gets the first 3 points of the half. Jeff Smithy against modest pressure by Damon White brings the ball down, sets up for the Mastodons. Off to Sean Gibson. And a hold foul is going to be called on Mark Scheidler.
Smithy did a good job bringing the ball down the side. Scheidler was overplaying Gibson, and Smithy was able to get the ball into him, and so Gibson had to step to the bucket, and Scheidler had to hold him to keep him from having an easy layup.
Clarence Rich inbounds the ball, gets it back from Sean Gibson, takes a short jumper, can't get it to go, but Pat Murphy with great position and goes back up with the offensive rebound and the 2 points.
It's just what you mentioned, Dave. They need to get some more offensive boards. But with only 16 shots in the first half, can't expect too many offensive
There wouldn't
rebounds.
be a lot of them, no. Damon White out front for the St. Joe Pumas. Lowell Harper at the top of the key, ready to set a pick, comes back out. Kevin McGuff, Damon White. Mark Scheidler sets the pick. Sean Gibson tips the ball out of bounds.
Actually kicked the ball, so there'll be a reset on the clock. St. Joe is getting a mismatch, Dave, if they're aware of it. That time Smithy was guarding Scheidler underneath the bucket, and if they could have got the ball downside, Scheidler should eat him up.
Yeah, if Sean had not kicked that ball out of bounds, there was big trouble coming for IPFW. Trent Smith out the top, drives on Jeff Smithy. Jeff cuts him off. Lowell Harper on the baseline. Again, Sean Gibson tips the ball out of bounds as they attempted to get it to Mark Scheidler inside. IPFW playing good defense again.
Playing good defense inside the paint, Dave. They're not letting that ball get down there very freely.
And they've needed that defense. 31-26. And there we go. He put a shoulder into him. And somehow Scheidler tipped the ball out of bounds, so Sean Gibson will inbound for the Mastodons. Jeff Smithy coming down. Damon White on the defense. Clarence Rich out front to help. They get the offense set up, look inside. Nothing going there. Back out to Kevin Shank. Jeff Smithy looks underneath, gets the ball into Sean Gibson, but Sean couldn't get it to fall for him. Heavy traffic. Sure, he would like to have had a foul, but that one might have been pretty clean.
Well, I think actually he was counting on the foul, and he didn't take it up quite strong enough. He needs to take it up a little bit stronger.
Good defense again, caused the errant pass by the Pumas, so IPFW's got to now come down and get something to cash in on this offense and get back to where they can get tied, take a lead here, and then they might be able to push things in a little different direction for this ball game.
Well, it's very similar to what we talked about in the first half, Dave, is they're doing things right up till the point of putting the ball in the basket.
Yep. So we played almost 3 minutes here in the second half, and the collective score of the second half is 3-2. Clarence Rich with his three-point attempt, no good. Sean Gibson and Murphy both played strong on the offensive board and came out with the ball. Jeff Smithy for three, no good. Long rebound, picked off by Damon White. But again, Pumas did not come down very fast. They'll set up outside to Donnie Riggins. Lowell Harper and Mark Scheidler working the underneath side for the St. Joe Pumas. Damon White, Kevin McGuff. Scheidler went up strong, but he missed.
Murphy couldn't quite get a handle on that ball and knocked it out of bounds.
Jeff Smithy was just ready to squeeze it, and Pat got a hand on it. St. Joe inbounding the ball underneath their own basket. Good defense again by IPFW, making it difficult. Lowell Harper had position, was wanting that ball badly, and fouled by Mark Allen.
Personal foul on IPFW, number 21.
Third team foul against the IPFW Mastodons in the second half. Could come back to haunt them a little bit later.
Both Allen and Murphy now have 3 fouls apiece.
Kevin McGuff, good outside shooter, but I don't think he's taken a three-point shot yet. They wanted to lob inside to Scheidler, but he didn't go for it. Instead, Sean Gibson comes up with the steal. Jeff Smithy with the ball, looking for an attack, someplace to go, a lane to seem to work through. Not a lot of movement on the offense yet. Clarence Rich for three. And he hits it. That's a big bucket. That cuts the lead to 2 after a very slow pace here, and then we played just a little over 4 minutes. And we have a 2-point ball game. IPFW slowly but surely cutting the lead down. Nice hustle by Mark Allen.
Looked like IPFW was in a little bit of a zone there, particularly in the back court, in the front court, while their front court players were playing pressure or man-to-man.
Going for the trap.
Right.
Now they have the two-man trap, and Mark Scheidler fairly easy down the lane. Lowell Harper and Marcus Allen were exchanging shoves, and Scheidler's drawn, or
Well,
Lowell Harper, I'm sorry.
At least the officials are consistent, Dave. It's the same thing they called it the other in the same way.
Yep,
So
yep.
that's Harper's 3rd foul.
He's a strong kid.
Well, he was a surprise starter, but he came in and did a very nice job for the Pumas.
And now number 35, Mark Brown, into the lineup. And Mark, I don't think, has quite the same kind of offensive capabilities. Nice move by Jeff Smithy. He couldn't get the ball to fall. Sean Gibson couldn't get the rebound. That's as fast as St. Joe has come down the floor and taken a shot all night. And Donnie Riggins takes a quick jumper and pushes that lead back to 6 all of a sudden. 15 minutes to play in the second half. Shane Gibson over to Clarence Rich. Into Sean Gibson, but the bad pass gets away, although could not be controlled by Mark Scheidler.
Well, that was a smart play by Scheidler. He was going to throw it back into play and decided that there were too many white jerseys around there, and he didn't want to give it up in his defensive end, so he took it out of bounds with him.
Eric Vaughn coming into the IPFW lineup, and Andre Walton coming in for Jeff Smithy and Clarence Rich. First action of the night for Eric. Andre was a starter, saw limited action after the early part of the game, so let's see if he can get some things cranked up here now in the offense. Pat Murphy, Sean Gibson, Shane Gibson, Eric Vaughn, and Andre Walton. Oh yes, there he is. Sean went up strong, but so did Mark Scheidler.
In fact, Dave, I've got to believe he got him with a body because it sure looked like a clean block up on top.
The arms were up about the same height, both on the ball, but yeah, you're probably right. There was some body movement because Mark had to come across at an angle.
Yeah, there you see it in the replay. Looked like he had a clean block up on top, but it looked like he got him down around the hips.
So that's Scheidler's 3rd foul. He will sit down for a while. In comes 6'10" Mike Koski. He and 6'7" Mark Brown will patrol the inside pastures for the Pumas. Sean Gibson's first free throw is up and good.
He's got 5 points tonight, all on free throws, Dave. He's not been able to get a bucket yet.
He hasn't gotten one to fall yet, has he? Sean with number 2 coming up. And it's good. IPFW setting up to exert the pressure defense again. Damon White, do teamed over in the corner. White and Smith, back and forth. Now to Donnie Riggins. Smith, which is back out to Damon White. Donnie Riggins, he'd like to get it inside, but can't find Mark Brown. Mike Koski, about 30 feet from the basket. Donnie Riggins would like to keep Andre Walton down underneath. Well, looky there, a 16-foot jumper by Mike Koski.
Well, we told him we wanted to keep it out there, and he did, and made it work. So
Eric Vaughn on a drive underneath the basket has the ball tipped out of bounds by Trent Smith. So Eric will inbound for the Mastodons as they set up their offensive set from underneath their own basket. Mike Murphy and Andre Walton setting up at the free throw line with the Gibson brothers setting up on the boxes down underneath. Sean gets it in the right corner, looking for Eric Vaughn underneath. Back out to Sean, back into Eric, and they patiently draw a foul on number 42, Donnie Riggins.
That's his 3rd, Dave.
So the fouls are beginning to mount up for the Pumas.
In fact, 3 of their big men inside Harper and Scheidler and Riggins now all have 3 fouls.
It's time for IPFW to put on one of their mini runs and get this thing narrowed back down. Nice jump shot from the right side by Eric Vaughn, falls off the rim. Back comes Damon White with Andre Walton giving plenty of pressure. Donnie Riggins on Eric Vaughn. Big guy's looking for another jump shot outside. He looked like he could have gone on to the basket, but there's the traveling call against Donnie Riggins.
Well, after he made that one, it made IPFW a little tentative, and they came out when he took the fake. And yeah, you're right. It looked like he could have gone all the way to the bucket.
Yeah, he backed off with the drive down the lane too quickly, looked like, but I'm glad he did. Andre Walton into John Honstrader, who's entered the IPFW lineup, and back to Andre Walton. Andre comes down, takes a look, gets the Mastodon set. A long pass over to the corner for Eric Vaughn. Eric, nice dish underneath, but couldn't be handled by John Honstrader. Looks like John might have gotten an elbow to the side of the head. Eric might have been better advised that time to go ahead and put the short jumper up.
Yeah, I think when you get inside and you got that many people inside and it's that clogged that you just need to take it right to the hole.
Trent Smith with the ball, back out to Damon White. 37-31, just under 13 minutes to play in the second half. Great Lakes Valley basketball. First game of the conference season here in the 1992. IPFW a little slow getting started here, but we'll see what happens as Shane Gibson takes a 3, but it's no good. And good save underneath by Pat Murphy. Saved it to Eric Vaughn, and Eric put up a nice soft jumper and got it to fall. The good hustle by Pat Murphy that time to save the ball.
Murphy's playing real well underneath the bucket right now, Dave.
Yes, he is, because that's about the 3rd time he's either gotten an offensive rebound or kept the ball alive for someone else to get.
And a number of times today, somebody's kept the ball alive, oftentimes him, and we've not been able to get a hold of it. So even when we didn't get control of it, he's been keeping the ball alive.
And the defensive pressure that time paid off for the Mastodons. They got a 5-second call on the defense, took the ball out of bounds underneath, and Eric Vaughn hits the 3-pointer from the right corner. We have a 1-point ball game, the closest it's been since the beginning of the basketball
Well,
game.
what else that did is it got the crowd into the game. It had gotten real quiet here because it had been such slow action, and that got the crowd into the game a little bit. Now St. Joe's going to slow down a little bit, try to take the crowd back out.
And St. Joe has not taken very many 3-point shots tonight. Big man has a nice touch.
He's a nice player, Dave. Nice player.
And Pat Murphy goes up strong. But there's one thing for sure, that official consistently all night long has called the charge when you come down the lane.
That's 4 on Murphy. That's his 2nd charge, too. He also needs to take the ball up to the bucket instead of taking it all the way to the bucket.
Coach Andy Piazza trying to get these Mastodons over the hump here tonight. Andre Walton setting up the pressure at the free throw line. Trent Smith inbound back to Kevin McGuff. Trent Smith, Damon White, those 3 guys, and there's a steal by Andre Walton. And he puts it in, so we're back to a 1-point deficit.
Well, Shane Gibson made that happen, knocked it loose, and Walton was able to pick it up.
The points aren't on the board yet, but it will be soon. It's now 39-38. St. Joe Pumas by 1. 11 minutes to play. Damon White over to Trent Smith. Kevin McGuff. Mike Koski. John Honstrader, I think, called for a defensive foul.
I'll tell you what, Dave, I have a real problem with those kind of calls. It's just there's so much physical activity down underneath that basket from both players. How do you call it one way or the other? I don't
in that
understand
particular play, it had absolutely no bearing with ball control, ball possession, anything of that sort. Sean Gibson and John Heinstrider with the defensive play underneath, and they got mixed up. St. Joe back to a 3-point lead. Eric Vaughn with a strong move to the hoop. Can't get it to fall. John Honstrader with the offensive rebound, goes back up, draws the foul, couldn't get the basket, but drew the foul.
Well, Eric, after sitting out first half and the first 8 minutes of the second half, looks like he's ready to play.
John Honstrider will go to the line for the Mastodons to shoot 2.
There you see a good picture on your screen of the new head coach at St. Joe, Dan Peters, and there's the drive to the bucket by Vaughn. The rebound by Honstrider goes right back up. It's fouled over the back by Koski.
These offensive boards may be a key to this ball game before it's over. It certainly has in terms of IPFW being able to maintain some close scores here for the second half. John misses that first free throw. Second opportunity. He's shooting less than 50% for the season. But he hasn't shot many either. That's his 13th attempt, and he missed that also. St. Joe on the attack, down by Damon White. Andre Walton with the defense. Big man Mike Koski way out on the court. Here comes Kevin McGuff with a drive down the lane. Shut off. Kevin McGuff again goes down the lane. He was determined that time. He was going down the lane, but Andre Walton would not give him daylight.
No, but both teams need more of that to get their guards to drive down that lane and feed off a little bit. Now, he wasn't looking to feed there, but he drove the lane.
John Honstrider was replaced in the lineup by Doug Reinke. Doug with a little more size to combat the fellas underneath there. In fact, he should be able to neutralize Kevin Koski pretty well. Eric Vaughn. Clarence Rich is back in the IPFW lineup. Doug Reinke is out on, and there he takes about a 18-foot jump shot. Clarence Rich in for the fast break bucket. He had it tipped away, but he was fouled by number 20, Kevin McGuff. So Clarence Rich will go to the line. Shoot 2 free throws.
Nice look away pass by Eric Vaughn. I don't know if we've got that in the replay or not, but he looked away from the pass. And
Clarence is one of the team's better free throw shooters. He's 10 for 13. There you see the replay as St. Joe knocked the ball away. Clarence hits the first free throw. Narrows the margin to 2 points and a chance now to bring IPFW again back within 1 point. Clarence missed the second free throw.
Got to give St. Joe credit, Dave. They have really hung tight here. A couple times they could have folded with runs that IPFW's made, but they haven't yet. 9 minutes and 38 seconds left in this game. 2-point lead by St. Joe.
St. Joe has stayed with their game. Very deliberate offense. Kevin Koski pushed way out on the floor. He now has Clarence Rich on him, but he's out on the court. Kevin McGuff kind of threw a shot up there.
No, I'm not sure we don't want him doing that, Dave.
An ill-advised pass too far down.
No, they worked real hard to get the ball back, and then they throw the ball away like that.
Yeah, they worked very, very hard defensively. Came up with the ball, forced St. Joe into a bad shot. Damon White draws the foul on Doug Reinke.
And Dave, after some of the physical contact we've seen, that's a...
You're absolutely right. Both teams now with 6 fouls here in the second half, so that both will be in the bonus from here on out. 8 minutes and 49 seconds to play. St. Joe with a 2-point lead. IPFW keeps whittling away and whittling away. Tony Lyles that time, new man in the lineup for the Pumas, got down into very heavy traffic and couldn't get a shot off.
Our big men have done a nice job at cutting off the baseline in almost every instance tonight.
Kevin McGuff. Mark Scheidler posting up underneath with Clarence Rich, but Clarence has been playing a real good defense. And IPFW had him shut off that time.
just after I made the comment about cutting off the baseline, Ranky let Scheidler go take the baseline. And
he had made a good defensive move to come over and stop him, and then he relaxed, and Mark went down the baseline, took it away from him. Mark Allen back in the lineup, replacing Doug Ranky. So we have Allen, Sean Gibson, Vaughn, Walton, Rich. The 5 players on the floor for IPFW at the moment. Mark Scheidler eyes the basket. Free throw number 1. It's in the air, and he gets the roll. Number 2 by Mark, as he attempts to give the St. Joe College a 4-point lead. 8 minutes and 21 seconds to play here in the second half. Again, a pretty flat shot, but he got it to fall. Eric Vaughn with the ball down the left side of the court, looking to set up the offense for IPFW. Can't get anything to go there. Andre Walton couldn't spring loose. Nice inside pass by Clarence Rich, gets it into Mark Allen, and they get a nice 2-point bucket. The defense again is real tough, and Clarence Rich putting the pressure on and caused number 21, Tony Lyle, to kick the ball out of bounds.
Well, Dave, we're going to have to pick a Dandy Don player of the game here in a couple minutes, and right now I'd have to say Clarence Rich is leading that because of his defensive pressure. Nobody stood out offensively for the Dons, but defensively, Clarence
I'd
Rich
have to agree with you. Clarence has, at very key times, put some real pressure on the St. Joe Pumas and gotten the IPFW team the ball. Then from there, it's been up to whoever could do it.
And that last effort there by Rich is going to get the ball back to IPFW, down by 2 here with 7:58 to play.
We'll be right back for more GLVC basketball action right after these brief messages.
There was a time many people thought that economics had very little to do with everyday life. Today, it seems there's very little in everyday life that does not have to do with economics. Enroll in the Economics USA telecourse. It's an education for life.
Seven minutes and 58 seconds left in this college basketball conference opener, the Great Lakes Valley Conference. IPFW ready to inbound the ball underneath their own basket with one of the few opportunities tonight, Dan, to score and tie this ball game up, or perhaps take a lead if they hit a 3-point.
Well, they've been struggling all night to get back into the game. They finally worked themselves into a position to do it. Now it's important that they execute here.
Eric Vaughn with the 3 from the corner. No good. Eric Vaughn missed the 3-pointer. Mark Allen had an opportunity for the rebound, couldn't quite control it. Mark Scheidler tries to drive the baseline. Lowell Harper also tried to draw it, and Perry got one to drop on and then he picks off the shot. So here we go, a little streak this way and a little streak that way, and this ball game just stays just about the same, 2, 3, 4 points.
Now, we mentioned Perry's quickness in the first half. He just is making it show right here by getting that bucket and then intercepting the pass at the other end.
Whoa there. One of the few shots taken in this ball game tonight by Kevin McGuff.
That's twice now where Walton's tried to get a little bit too fancy coming down instead of getting the ball and stopping at the top of the key.
Tried to force the pass in. Fortunately, it was kicked out of bounds, and so IPFW will retain possession. Kind of a key possession right here to stay close, but they couldn't go up with the ball. That's one of those times when it's probably just as well for Mark Allen to go up with the ball. It was awfully tight corners. But the defense for IPFW keeping them close. Clarence Rich with a hand on the ball. He couldn't pick it off, but he gave them pressure. Pat Murphy coming back into the ball game. Pat will come in for Mark Allen. Pat with 4 fouls, so we'll see how much of a contribution he can make here. And Pat's the kind of guy that could play the rest of the ball game and not foul out.
Yeah, if he uses his head, and he's made a big difference here underneath the boards when he's been in.
Got a tough assignment. He's got to handle the strong boy there, Lowell Harper. St. Joe not really looking for a shot yet. They want to run that shot clock down. Lowell and a tip in by Damon White.
Well, we got the backside coming across to help out, but nobody boxed out then.
And there we saw a move down the lane by Eric Vaughn. So he got the 2 back in a hurry. Kevin McGuff with the ball down in the corner. Whoa, and it was lost control as he tried to go up with it, did Lowell Harper.
Same thing at that end, Dave, as it happened at IPFW's end a little while ago. It was just too much ball movement underneath the bucket. He needed to take it right to the basket.
Yep. Kevin Shank in the IPFW lineup to replace Clarence Rich. Let Clarence get a breather here for a while. No one offensively has been able to get much of a movement toward the basket for IPFW. And when there is an opening, they're just a half step or a half second behind making the pass. By the time they've tried to make the pass sometimes, then it's been too late and it's gone the other way. And there's a nice move by Pat Murphy. Strong move up and in.
Yeah, and he was very careful not to draw the charge because he went one way and almost threw his shoulder out, and he drew it back very quickly.
Damon White. Lowell Harper. Back to Damon. Perry. Over to Kevin McGuff. Mark Brown, it's the big man underneath, along with Lowell Harper. St. Joe runs at least half of the shot clock down or more, and then begin to look inside.
Number 12, Trent Smith, and number 32, Mark Scheinberg.
St. Joe going to call a timeout here, Dave. Try to regroup here for the last 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Tune in to Channel 6 Wednesday evening, January 4th at 6 p.m. to watch the Lady Flyers from Lewis University take on the IPFW Lady Dons. Catch all the action of NCAA basketball right here on Channel 6.
Well, Dave, with 4 minutes and 30 seconds left, 2-point ball game. St. Joe's still leading. It's imperative, I think, that IPFW get a bucket here to get at least tie this game, because right now the momentum is still in St. Joe's hands. They've never let this slip. Even though IPFW's made 2 or 3 different runs to get back, they've always been able to stay ahead, pull back by 4 or 6 points, and IPFW now again has gotten back within 2. And it's imperative, I think, that IPFW get a bucket here to at least tie it up and potentially go ahead.
And of the few opportunities that IPFW has had maybe to come down with a chance to score, only one time that I can recall they actually got a shot away. The other couple of times the ball got away from them before they had that opportunity to score. But a quick inbounds with the time the way it is anymore, the officials, when the time is up, they put the ball in play. St. Joe, shot clock down to 8. And Kevin McGuff with a good 3-point shooter, and that's one of his few shots tonight. And IPFW now has the ball. 4 minutes and 14 seconds. Down 2, have the ball, ready to come down and see if they can't this time take advantage of the opportunity to tie or go ahead.
Well, and the last time they did this, they took a 3-point shot, which isn't necessary at this point. There's still a lot of time. All they need to do is work and get a good shot and try to tie this ball game up.
Eric Vaughn with the ball out front, looking to see what can be set up on the offense. IPFW trying to get inside. Nice pass into Murphy. He goes up strong and draws the foul. I'm not sure which of the 3 St. Joe players will get the foul, possibly number 13. Yes, Mike Koski.
Boy, Dave, I tell you, the St. Joe players really jump well. As you mentioned before, look at here. You'll see the ball goes inside, and 3 guys are there to try to knock that ball loose. And not only do they jump well, they react very quickly and get to the ball.
The nice thing we had that time, too, was that Sean Gibson was following the missed shot. Pat misses the first free throw. So he has another one coming with an opportunity to cut this deficit to 1. Pat hits the second, so we have a 1-point ball game. 3 minutes and 55 seconds to play.
Official timeout.
Something happened again with the shot clock, do you suppose? It's at 45 and didn't move. Okay, they've got it right. 2 seconds clicked off of the time clock, but not the shot clock. We now have 43 seconds.
Well, Dave, they took 2 seconds off the shot clock, so he really should not be able to move because the ball was inbounded in an official's timeout. So really, he should be stationary.
You're right.
And the St. Joe Pumas are trying to argue that he should be able to run a baseline.
But I think he'll have to stay stationary unless they take it upon themselves to say, let's start the whole thing over. I'm sure they won't penalize St. Joe in their 10 seconds to get the ball across the line. They'll have a full 10 to do that. So he is staying stationary. And he is having difficulty, and Eric Vaughn will be called for the foul. Good pressure. He's going to make somebody shoot the 1-and-1. I don't know who it is. Trent Smith?
But we talked about that, David. It's not imperative to steal the ball at this point. It's imperative to put pressure on them.
That's right.
And we don't need to have the ball every time we
because
press.
Here's a team that is one of the leaders in the nation at the free throw percentage. And I don't know for sure what Trent Smith shoots, but we'll have it here in a minute. Well, not so good. But he hits the first one. I'm sorry, he isn't too bad.
And
he hasn't shot very many. He's 8 for 12.
And as you said, you got to step up every time and hit these or not hit them.
So Trent Smith with shot number 2 coming up. St. Joe with a 2-point lead. Now make it 3. IPFW with the ball. A lot of time left. A lot of things can happen here. Neither team should be in a hurry, and neither one has been tonight. Ball over to Eric Vaughn. Eric got a little careless with the pass. Trent Smith with the ball out front. Over to Kevin McGuff. Clarence Rich getting ready to check back into the last 3.5 minutes of this ball game. Mike McCoskey. Trent Smith with the nice rebound by Pat Murphy. Flipped over to Sean Gibson. Sean got in no hurry. Eric needs help. Somebody had to come to the ball, and nobody did. Very wisely, Eric Vaughn took a timeout.
I'm not sure how many that is, Dave, but we're down here to the crunch time of this ball game. I know that St. Joe has taken at least 2 timeouts, and that may be IPFW's second timeout. So both teams may have about 3 timeouts left in this ball game.
Each team has 3 timeouts. I see signaled by the official down at the scorer's table. Here's the schedule for our live sports telecasts in the coming weeks. Doubleheader GLVC college basketball. Saturday, January 4th, 6 p.m. Lewis University against the women's Lady Dons basketball team of IPFW. 8 o'clock that same night, the men's team from Lewis and IPFW will square off. Then on Thursday, January 16th, Bellarmine College comes to town. Women's game at 6, men's game at 8. Saturday, January 18th, 6 p.m., Kentucky State University will be in town to play the Lady Dons. And at 8 p.m., Kentucky State will play the IPFW Mastodons. Then followed by a Thursday, January 21 game, 7:30, single game that night against St. Francis College, crosstown rival here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. IPFW inbounds the ball. Eric Vaughn drives the lane. And he has drawn a foul on, I believe, Kevin McGuff.
Well, Dave, we have 3 minutes and 2 seconds left. Both teams are now in the 1-and-1. Neither team has yet reached the 2-shot penalty. That's 4 fouls on McGuff, but with 3 minutes, I'm not sure that's going to be a big factor here.
Well, he's one of their better scorers and shooters, but yet tonight he has not shot a lot, nor has he scored. Eric Vaughn, first free throw is good, and we have a 2-point ball game.
You know, we haven't seen much production out of tonight, particularly in the second half, is Sean Gibson. First half, he only had 4 points, but he got a number of touched the ball a number of times underneath the bucket. Second half, we haven't seen him touch the ball very much at all.
Not a lot, not in terms of the opportunities for scoring. Donnie Riggins with the ball. Inbounds over to Mark Scheidler, back out to Damon White. St. Joe is not going to change now. All night long they've been very deliberate. Trent Smith. Damon White wanted to drive that time, but Sean Gibson, good defense, cut him off. IPFW with the defense, has the shot clock down to 9. Damon White. And good defense by Clarence Rich and Pat Murphy with the rebound. Now IPFW, opportunity to take the lead. This is the first time in quite a while tonight. And they're, well, we've seen a lot less contact than that call for a foul tonight, but IPFW retains possession. Kevin McGuff, one of the better ball handlers for St. Joe, coming back into the ball to the lineup. IPFW will inbound the ball. Plenty of time on the shot clock. 2:08 on the game clock. IPFW trails 48-49.
I'll tell you what, Dave, the pressure applied by IPFW has not rattled St. Joe at all. They are not against taking all 45 seconds on that shot clock before taking the shot.
No, they're certainly not. Jeff Smithy with the ball out front. Off to Eric Vaughn in the deep left-hand corner. Oh, look at that go, would you? Pat Murphy drops one in. IPFW takes the lead for the first time tonight, 50-49. And does this place come alive? That's as good a example, Dan, of you'll ever see of a, just stay with it, put it up, give it a chance, and in it goes.
Well, here you see in the replay, Eric Vaughn's going to, the official got in the way there, but he feeds it in, and Murphy's just going to take it real strong to the bucket, and he gets fouled by Koski, and he puts it in.
And the free throw is up and good. So IPFW has surged into a 51-49 lead with 1:58 here, and the St. Joe Pumas call for a timeout. Well, it's been an interesting ball game, Dan, all the way along. It's both teams have played very hard, very hard.
Well, other than that early lead that St. Joe went out to, it's been a very close ball game, but I can't say that it's been one of the, you've sat on the edge of your chair, just the action has been fairly slow.
No, you haven't been overcome with the excitement. You've seen some good things happen. The lineup that IPFW has in there now contains Clarence Rich, Jeff Smithy, Pat Murphy, Sean Gibson, and Eric Vaughn. And they've been applying some pretty good pressure on the defense. Not that they've stolen the ball so very much, but St. Joe certainly has not had all night long a fast break bucket.
Well, Clarence Rich has just been in anybody's face who's ever had the ball that he's been guarding, and even oftentimes come off the backside of the ball to apply pressure.
And Pat Murphy has played extremely well in these, particularly in these last 5 minutes, where he came back in with his 4 fouls, played great defense, played very alertly on the offense, hit some key free throws, and we've got 1:58 to go. IPFW leading by 2. St. Joe to inbound the ball underneath the IPFW basket. And Sean Gibson tips the ball out of bounds. Good pressure defense.
And he was smart not to foul. We don't want any fouls here. We're in the 1-1, but this will be the 9th foul. And that will put them, the next foul after that, then we'll put them in the double foul shot. So we don't want to do that. We want to avoid the foul if we can.
And St. Joe is already at the 9 mark, so they will be, the next foul they commit will be an automatic 2-shot foul for the Mastodons. But Damon White Some difficulty getting the ball across the midcourt. Interesting there that it came across at 34 seconds. But
well,
Mike Koski puts the ball up.
And not only that, Dave, it appeared to me that Koski came in from out of bounds to take that ball, and I thought that was an illegal play. The officials apparently missed it, or I was not able to get the right angle here.
He sure came from out of nowhere. IPFW very patiently working the ball on the offense. Jeff Smithy with the ball out front. Oh, nice feed inside. Oh, and look at that.
Dave, that ball was pinned against the board.
Yep.
That is a goaltending call.
Maybe we'll get a replay on that shot that Murphy put up. Mark Scheidler has the block.
Here's the play. You're going to see that ball was pinned against the board on Murphy. Right there, it was pinned against the board. The official said that he was hit it on the way up, but you're allowed to do that, but you are not allowed to pin that ball against the board.
And in the meantime, Sean Gibson was called for a foul.
His fourth.
Will send to the line, I think, Mike Koski.
Timeout, IPFW.
Well, it had that was quite a turnaround. Had a great move, great pass. Shot went up. Too bad Murphy couldn't go up far enough to stuff it, but he didn't.
Well, I think he was actually trying to really grab the ball and was attempting to be strong, but it was a low pass. He had to go down to get the ball. Couldn't get a real strong grip on it to take it up to stuff the ball like he wanted to. In my opinion, the officials just blew that call. And as you said, then in the ensuing scramble for it, Gibson picked up his fourth foul, and Koski will be at the line shooting a 1-and-1.
So we have 1:12 left to play. We've played all night to play to a tie at 51-51 at this moment. St. Joe will be going to the line to shoot a free throw. They'll be just in the 1 and bonus. Won't be a 2-shot foul at free throw at this time.
And it will be Mike Koski, and he's a pretty good free throw shooter. I don't know what his overall season stats are, but he's 4 for 4 from there today, I believe.
Yeah, he hasn't missed tonight, and he's been pretty deadly for the season. 72% coming into tonight at 23 for 32. So if he's 4 for 4, maybe he's due to miss one.
Well, IPFW has to realize, though, that there still is 1:12 left, and they don't want to do anything foolish here.
Oh, there's plenty of time.
It's not a do-or-die situation.
Okay, Mike Koski stepping up to the line. He will shoot. He will shoot 1-and-1. The official was about to give the man 2 free throws. The IPFW guys corrected things here. All right, Mike Koski stepping up. He's about to attempt the shot, and it goes up, and he missed his first one of the night. Well, here we go, Mastodons.
But again, Dave, they need to realize it's not imperative here. They just need to take their time and do the things right.
Now, they can't run the clock off till to the end of the game. IPFW will get another possession. There is a long shot from, and there's Clarence Rich retrieving the ball, saving, keeping it alive off the offensive boards. And that did not reset the shot clock.
It should have, though, shouldn't it?
Yes, I think so, because the shot was taken.
And it hit, in fact, it hit the rim, did not it, Dave?
Yeah, and another three-pointer, and he cans this one. Holy cow. 34 seconds, 33 now, and it's 54-51. IPFW's biggest lead of the night. Pressure defense again. Mike Koski calls timeout. There's 23 seconds on the game clock. Shot clock is off. St. Joe has the ball, and it will be interesting now to see what kind of strategy shapes up, because unless St. Joe sets up for a three-point shot to tie, then if IPFW doesn't foul, they shouldn't be able to tie this ball game.
Well, and on the other hand, IPFW will be going to the line with 2 free throws if they are fouled, because it will be St. Joe's 10th free throw.
That's right.
I think the officials have made 2 mistakes here in the last minute and a half. I think that they missed the goaltending call, and I think they missed the reset of the shot clock. Although, again, we'll take that because Vaughn stepped up and hit the three-pointer there.
Well, let's look for St. Joe. If they want the three-point shot, then it's most likely to be number 20, Kevin McGuff, or number 12, Trent Smith. those two guys together are 21 for 41 for the season. So that's a little over 50% at the three-point shot. On the other hand, I see Damon White out there, and Damon already tonight has hit a couple.
Damon's hit two.
He's a possibility. It could go to anybody. I wouldn't be too surprised even to see Mark Scheidler take one if he needed to.
He has not really attempted a very long shot, but you're right. He appears to me to be a pretty good athlete.
He's a good ball player. He's capable. Give it to the big man. Let him go inside. Take that shot. Kevin McGuff's looking for it. He wants it, but he can't find it. And there is good defense being played on that outside perimeter. Just as good as you could ask for. And Trent Smith shoots the three up. It's no good. We're down to 5 seconds on the clock. We have a jump ball. Ultimate possession goes to the IPFW Mastodons. And barring some sort of a miracle for the St. Joe Pumas, they're going to have one slip out of their grasp, but by a very, very tenacious, defensively minded IPFW Mastodon team here tonight.
Well, wisely, the IPFW Mastodons and Andy Piazza called the timeout, set up this last play. They're ahead by 3. They have the ball with only 5 seconds left. They virtually can control the destiny. As long as they get the ball inbound and don't do anything to make mistakes, they can win this ball game without any problem. Not sure if St. Joe has any timeouts left. They may have one, so if they would happen to get the ball and make a bucket, they may be able to take a timeout.
Well, we'll be with you right after this ball game concludes, and it'll be over in just a few seconds of playing time here shortly, and we'll bring you the Dandy Don Player Award of the game, which we're suggesting at this point in time will go to Clarence Rich, who has come up with some very, very key defensive plays that have made it possible.
And it was a difficult decision there, Dave, because Pat Murphy's really come in here and offensively, but Clarence has consistently played well throughout the game. Eric Vaughn's also come in and put some offensive spark into it, but Clarence held us in there at the beginning of the game, and we weren't doing very many things offensively. Or defensively, he played very well. He also, Dave, hit a 1 3-pointer to continue his streak here. I'm not sure how many games he's up to now, but he has continued his 3-point made streak.
I think that may make it 25 games.
In a row?
Yeah.
Sean Gibson take the ball out of bounds. Inbounds it to Clarence Rich. They'll foul him.
And they foul Clarence, and it is 25 ball games for Clarence Rich to have his string of 3-point shots. In fact, it's the only one he took, I think, wasn't it?
I believe he attempted one other one. I believe he attempted 2 right at the beginning of the second half.
Well, St. Joe did what they had to do with only losing 1 second off of the clock. They got a man that they'll put at the free throw line. He will be shooting 2. One will put it away. And St. Joe is going to call a timeout.
And Clarence has hit 1. I believe he's 1 for 2 tonight, Dave. So if he basically hits 1, the ball game could be over with, because IPFW just needs to stand there and not do anything.
And a tip of the hat, as you indicated just a minute ago, to Pat Murphy. Played a very, very strong game here tonight. Sean Gibson quietly played a very strong game. Didn't score a lot of points, but he too played his defensive role. And the Mastodons hung in there on a night when offense didn't really fall for him a lot.
Sean offers an awful lot of consistency and dedication to this game. That's right, and leadership. This team, we talked about having a lot of upper-class kids, but they need somebody still, even though they've got that, to step forward and provide that leadership, and I think that's who they all look to Sean Gibson to do that. 54-51, 4 seconds left. IPFW will be shooting 2 free throws. Clarence Rich, we believe he's 1 for 2. We don't have official stats up here. I believe, Dave, St. Joe took that timeout, and that was their last one, so they will not be able to stop the clock after this.
Well, with only 4 seconds to go, they're not going to have much cause to stop the clock anyway. And even should Clarence miss both of these, they have to rebound the ball and get it the length of the court.
But we've seen that happen, Dave.
Clarence that time missed the first one. A little more follow through, Clarence, and you can drop that in there.
He just walked away from it. He needs to stay right there and get good follow through.
Now we have the 2 3-point shooters for St. Joe dropping back at midcourt. And Clarence drops that second one, and there's the one that puts the icing on the cake. Just don't foul somebody throwing up a 3-point shot. And there it is. It's over. IPFW wins a very, very hard-fought 55-51 Great Lakes Valley Basketball Conference victory to start the season.
Well, I think that you got to give credit to St. Joe. They walk out of here with a loss, which is disheartening to them, particularly after they led almost the first 37, 38 minutes of this ball game. But they basically came in here and did what they wanted to do. They played very strong defense. They kept IPFW out of their game, and seems to work real well. Let me go down some unofficial scoring here, Dave.
While you do that, I'll see if I can catch up with Clarence.
For IPFW, who totaled 55 points, Jeff Smithy had 6. Andre Walton had 2. Shane Gibson had 5. Eric Vaughn had 12. Kevin Shank had 3. Clarence Rich had 5, all in the second half. Sean Gibson had 6. Mark Allen had 4. Doug Ranke had 2. Pat Murphy had 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 8 of which came in the second half when he had a spurt there to get IPFW back into the ball game. For the Pumas of St. Joe, their total of 51. Mike Koski had 12. Trent Smith had 4. Damon White had 13, and IPFW shut him down in the second half. He had 10 at halftime, only finished with 13. Kevin McGuff, who was one of their leading scorers, and particularly a three-point threat, scored 0 points tonight. Tony Lyles did not score. Jeff Hauser did not score. Harry Perry scored 4. Mark Scheidler had 5 in the second half, way below his season average. Mark Brown had 2. Doug Riggins had 2. Lowell Harper had 6, all in the first half, and that was the scoring for the St. Joe Pumas. We'll be right back with our interview, and Dave Skelton will have the Dandy Don player of the game, Clarence Rich.
This is the increasingly competitive world we live in, and this is the country we want ahead of the competition. These are the people we'll be depending on to keep this country ahead of the competition. These are the colleges and universities we're relying on for the people we're depending on to keep this country ahead of the competition. So if you want America to stay #1 in the world, do something about it. Give to the college of your choice.
There was a time many people thought that economics had very little to do with everyday life. Today, it seems there's very little in everyday life that does not have to do with economics. Enroll in the Economics USA telecourse. It's an education for life.
As an athlete, it's especially painful to watch cocaine destroy those around me. How could these heroes with so much strength and discipline fall for cocaine? They thought they could control it. That's the big lie. No one controls cocaine. So don't blame them. Learn from them. If you're using cocaine, get help.
Call 1-800-662-HELP.
Welcome back to the IPFW Athletic Center, where IPFW has defeated St. Joe 55-51. We at IPFW are pleased to be able to bring you cablecast of NCAA athletic competition. We hope you've enjoyed the games and the excitement of intercollegiate sports at IPFW. To provide such programs, we need your support. With the help of student workers and volunteers, we are able to produce these programs at relatively low cost. Your contribution will help to defray the program production costs not covered by Channel 6 budget. The College Cable Access Center at IPFW invites you to invest in quality college programming by sending your contribution to College Cable Access Center at IPFW, 2101 Coliseum Boulevard East, Fort Wayne, Indiana, 46805-1499. please make your check out to the Indiana-Purdue Foundation at Fort Wayne and designate it for College Cable Access Athletics. We're going to send it down to the floor for an interview with Dave Skelton and the Dandy Don player of the game, Clarence Rich.
A great big congratulations to our Dandy Don for tonight's ball game, Clarence Rich. Clarence, congratulations on a terrific effort. IPFW had to hang in there, but tonight your defense along with your teammates made things finally come out on top for the Mastodons.
Well, I think that you're right. The defense did make a difference. That's what we got to express to all our guys, that 5 people playing defense, and hey, defense win games.
Tell me what you told me just a little bit ago when I said you weren't nervous on that last free throw, were you?
Oh, no, I wasn't
Never a
nervous.
doubt, right?
I had
Never
to make
a doubt.
one of them. I had to make one of them.
Well, this was a big ball game for us. The Great Lake Valley Conference season opener. We were at home playing a tough St. Joe team. They're 6-2. Now they're 6-3, but they're going to win a lot of ball games.
Yeah, they are. They have a real good nucleus, and if they just hang in there, they're going to have a real good season.
Well, Clarence, I know you'd like to get back down with your teammates tonight, so again, congratulations on a super effort.
Thanks.
IPFW 1-0 in the Great Lakes Valley Conference. That means we're at the top. Let's see if we can stay there.
All right, thanks a lot.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, that just about wraps it up here at the IPFW Athletic Center. Again, the final score is IPFW 55, St. Joe 51. IPFW goes to 6-1 on the season, 1-0 in the GLVC. The Pumas of St. Joe go to 6-3 and 0-1 in the GLVC. Tune in Saturday night for the Lewis IPFW games at 6 and 8. And that wraps it up here. We'd like to take this time to thank the Channel 6 crew, the College Cable Access Center, and the Learning Resource Center at IPFW for their participation in a live production of our basketball game this evening. The telecast of this IPFW sporting event is the sole property of the College Cable Access Center and IPFW. Unauthorized copying, retransmission, or rebroadcast of this event without expressed written consent is strictly prohibited. Stay tuned to Channel 6 following tonight's game as we join University Network programming already in progress. Thanks for joining us.